back here again with another notable member of GCW staff. He's hosted the Feud for as long as I've been here, if not longer. He's announced for The Price is Right. It's Johnny. Welcome.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
Thanks. Now, before we start, tell us about your background on GCW stuff.
Well, I joined the group around, I want to say late 2017. I mean, I didn't really know a bit too much. I started out as a contestant, just watching some of the shows, and I thought it was pretty cool. I think one of the first shows I watched was, I think The Price is Right, and I did pretty well at it. In fact, I got up to the showcase. I got called up and went to the showcase, and I lost. And it was a good turning point for me, honestly, because I never got up to that point in anything regarding shows like that, and that kind of helped make me want to pursue this kind of career. So I just kind of just working alongside game shows and doing stuff in between.
Right. Now, sticking to the topic of The Price is Right, how was it becoming an announcer for it?
It was very surprising. I never thought that Prime would reach out to me and select me because this was during the time of when season two, I think, was about to come to a close, or I think it was. I'm not sure if it was season two would come to a close, season three. Um, but they told me, Prime told me one thing that's they were gonna try. I was gonna be a trial announcer for an episode, so that would mean I would just try out an episode and see how I do. And they never really said, okay, you have the job. It just kind of stuck to like I had the job and like the whole time. So it was like it was very interesting to become the announcer of this very prolific show, and it was also interesting having more than one staple within the community because I was doing a lot um, during that time, and just being within that spotlight was very intriguing for me, honestly.
Yeah, I've had my fill of fun on Press Your Luck when I hosted. Try to inject that personal flavor.
Right.
I'm sure you've had your moments too.
Yeah. I mean, there's always some good moments and there's always some bad moments. When it comes to Family Feud, I mean, it does kind of get tiring sometimes of like when you're just kind of within the moment, and especially when you're writing questions for Family Feud, it's very hard because the writing process for Family Feud is very difficult, and because you're first of all having to find a bunch of survey questions, then you have to make a bunch of like multiple answers for them. Then you have to check to see that you can't Google this, and like you have to go through all the bells and whistles just to get everything set up. And the biggest problem with that, you know, it was very time consuming, and it was very difficult to do. And I'm surprised that Family Feud lasted as long as it did because it was such a hard show to set up. And you started to notice that everything was going to go downhill when we were starting to run out of like questions to use, and we were just doing questions the night before. And I've had my experience of doing stuff the night before, but when it comes to like a show like this, I mean, I feel like you need a little bit more preparation. And with the group shutting down, I just didn't see any reason to keep going in that certain direction. So it was just, I was out for that one.
I was wanting to ask what happened to the show these past couple months.
Well, the show it's pretty much halted production. I've officially left. I've actually made um, my disappearance. Well, not disappearance, but I resigned. I want to say around like a month ago or maybe a few months ago. It was in announcements. I remember seeing that. But yeah, it was around October, and I was planning to get at least one more episode out. But at that point, I was just like, you know what? I feel like this is the point where I need to stop. Uh, I going off of just difficulty trying to maintain the show, the audience as a whole. I've even had to like address that there was a lot of issues with the audience because some of them were just plain out rude. So I didn't really see much of like a reason why I should have kept going. So that's why those are main reasons why I stopped posting Family Feud. But I do have other jobs within the community, especially those at NBC, where I host a bunch of great stuff, and I've been doing a lot of cooperation and a lot of collaborations with the community, especially when it comes to more than just writing questions. It's making material and like theme songs, which you might have heard.
Now, is there anything you used to do that you don't do more recently in the life of GCW?
Well, activity-wise, I'm not very prone to it. I'll talk a bit here and there, but overall, I don't really daddle with GCW as much as I did a few months ago. Um, I mean, I've been trying to get ways to boost activity. I mean, we just did the Price is Right at night, which I think was controlled chaos in a sense.
Yeah.
It was very it was very interesting to see everybody come together in a VC, even though it was just kind of like a bit of a mess. But I think it was okay for the part. Overall, I'd say not a lot going around in GCW, and it probably won't be for the time being.
Yeah. And I'm thinking of making these public after GCW closes on Roblox,
All right, yeah.
like during the new year.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Plus, I don't want to upload them episode by episode, especially
Mm-hmm.
considering things happening in January. That's personal to me, so, and I don't want to say them out loud. But it
Right, I
has to do
understand
with
that.
age.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
All
Don't want
right.
to give you out too much personal information on a YouTube video.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't go too far on that one. Yeah.
Right.
hmm Yeah, but
Plus, I
I
wanted to
do.
do it when GCW's over with.
Right.
Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Um, you know, for the record, just to get it out of the way, regarding future projects after GCW, um, well, I am working with a bunch of groups, as I've said. You know, I've been doing stuff with TOF. Hopefully, that will come out as something in the future.
So
Um,
certain T. So
uh, yeah, sort of, maybe. Then I might be getting into GSL. If you heard of GSL, they're a really cool group. Known for doing some very interesting shows. And also mainly, I'm doing stuff with NBC. Most of the people within that are very close friends of mine. We've been a part of a quote unquote cult to this, and it's funny. I've been working on a lot of new shows there, and I'm so um, it's very interesting.
I've asked this to my previous guest, who I won't mention yet, but those watching will probably know who it is since that's the first one I uploaded and scheduled. But
Mm-hmm.
if you were not to be a staff and had any game you wanted to play, what would it be and why?
Any game I wanted to play, just within GCW.
Yeah,
Just within GCW. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of options. I'd say. Honestly, I would say something maybe along the lines of I'll have to see what could possibly I could play. Honestly, if I had the chance to do it again, I'd probably play The Price is Right because it's a very, very great experience.
yeah,
Um, The Price is Right does hold a special place in my heart. I mean, it was kind of there. it was a very special event for when everything else just didn't exist. And The Price is Right was kind of like that beacon of light for GCW. Um, I mean, when the last episode came around, I mean, no one knew it was going to be the last episode. We were just like, we're just doing an episode. So if I had to play The Price is Right, have a chance to Contestants Row, do the whole thing over again, I would let it soak it in, because you don't really appreciate the smaller details in life unless you really get into them, and that's what I've been trying to do. Even though, in a sense, I'm starting to not notice them as much, but I am starting to get out there in a sense,
Yeah.
Mm.
And I will give props to those, even if they don't want to be interviewed in this thing, those who just stick out for the group. And
Right,
the viewers, actually. Because if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have much to do ourselves, in a sense.
right.
We'd be playing it with ourselves, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, back then this kind of thing was just more of like inside jokes and whatnot. But now, when you're like in front of an audience of like a few 50 or 100, or you know when your members when your members are in the thousands, it's more of not more it's more of a widespread thing than it is just like an inside joke, because now you're just really outside of everything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That reminds me.
Is there anything that sticks out in your mind as far as memories of the shows you've done?
I mean, I have a lot of memories of shows that I've done. Some great, some not so great. Um, you
Can't
know,
win them all.
Yeah, you can't win them all. I mean, especially during the quote unquote Rovid days, back when the exploiting conflict was a big thing. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, we had to work around that somehow. And we sort of did. We did a bunch of VC episodes. I mean, I had work. I've already had kind of like a resume in VC hosting before then, in another group. So hosting Family Feud was, not as hard, but also kind of hard, because I mean, I've hosted a show for at least, I mean, it was 4 seasons at that time, and at least 4 years of experience under my belt. So it was very interesting to see all that come together, especially during then.
Speaking of Family Feud, as as those who watch our videos know, mine and Chris's, and anyone else who might upload GCW stuff, the Family Feud set and rules have changed every season. Which one
Mm-hmm.
would you say is your favorite out of the bunch?
My favorite out the bunch, going off of just memory wise, if the most detailed in a sense. Like, if I had to give an award for the most detailed set, it would be season three. Because there's a lot of work from Wheel putting into that set that was just like, I mean, it was like cream of the crop there. Best entertainment wise, I would say probably season two, because I mean the modern set gives off a kind of vibe that no other set does, and we had a bit of a mood swing coming from season two to three. And I had a really good experience doing season two, especially with the Tournament of Champions, and especially with all the other games that we fit inside. It's funny because we during that time we just kind of had everything like in smooth sailing, because we had questions written um, way ahead of time, because we had like 15 episodes like material worthy. But after those were over, we were just, starting to decline in a sense.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say you might want to get up and move around before Roblox kicks you for inactivity. I know
Oh
how
yeah,
bad it is from my multicam days.
yeah. I think just move the camera around. We'll just do
And I meant for
do it.
you.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry about that, though.
Yeah, it's alright,
Ever
honestly. I
since I
knew it was
got
gonna...
disconnected on my multicam account one Miami episode, I kind of got
Mm,
paranoid.
right? Just try moving the camera around and see what happens.
Yeah, have it on free cam on the Roblox side, by the way, on my end.
Hmm. Alright. Sounds interesting.
But anyway, what's your opinions on the Bullseye game from season three?
Um, the Bullseye game was okay. I mean, it wasn't the greatest thing about Season 3, but it was the most intriguing thing about Season 3. I mean, doing the Bullseye was honestly weird, especially since I never really did a Bullseye kind of thing before. And I had a feeling that other people wouldn't understand the Bullseye because, I mean, the audience, I mean, the the audience for the shows are a bit young, but then again, most of them
They were
are
probably
sort
born
of.
when Rick when either Louis Anderson or Richard Karn hosted it.
Yeah, probably. So I was only assuming it wouldn't go as well, but it went okay, especially for its time. Uh,
Yeah,
the Bullseye didn't really give much complaint to anybody. I mean, we've had a few good winners there, um, but some kind of flopped. But we don't really speak as much about those anymore.
I remember one time where someone buzzed in twice before you asked a question.
I mean, if I could remember when that happened,
I forgot
yeah,
exactly when it happened, but I did include it in road bloopers before I ended up stopping that.
right.
Because it was to give people like you a hard time, in a
Mm-hmm.
way. Saw that a lot of the younger crowd were quick to point it out as a blooper instead of letting it come naturally.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was the most infuriating part of doing this kind of thing, where one small mistake, like even if it was a typo, be like, oh, it's a blooper. Like they were just closely analyzing stuff, like waiting for something to happen in a sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, it kind of got. I felt like that kind of gotten out of hand, but overall, I think it's. I guess it's kind of died down in a way.
Plus, I'm not gonna do a sixth one anytime soon, if ever.
Right.
Now, I'm kind of running out of questions, to be honest.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't think we have an audience in the studio.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's anybody here, anyways.
Yeah. You know what? I'll just lock it.
All right, yeah, that's fair.
Now, what's with the green hat? You always
Um,
seem to have it on.
Yeah, I mean the green hat. It was more. I don't know where I got the green hat. I just remember wearing it one day. I was like, okay, I'll just wear that. It's been kind of an icon for me, honestly. Back then, 2017, I always had the Daft Punk helmet on, and that was kind of my staple. But then I was realizing, okay, maybe this isn't gonna work as well. So I just found a hat that you know looks kind of nice, and honestly, the green hat looks pretty all right. It kind of became, um, symbolic to me, uh, and it's always good having a symbol for yourself. I think the green hat kind of provides itself with merit, whenever you carry it around. So honestly, the green hat. I mean, I could have changed it. I really could have changed it, but I guess the green hatch is always there, and I don't have any plans to change it in the time being.
Now, is there anything you'd like to say to the GCW population before we close? Unless I think
Um,
of more questions.
just like a few things, nothing too long. Um, for those in GCW and for those who just don't understand why we got to shut down, it's more than just then we're too tired or we're too lazy. It's more of the fact that we're getting old, and it's more the fact that this is not going to be a long-lasting thing. Now, I get it. I get that you are obsessed with this kind of stuff, and I was obsessed with this kind of stuff as well. So, making this kind of thing work was very hard to do, and especially trying to make all this work was very hard to do. Trying to set up all this. I mean, when we started this, we were just teenagers, and some of us are still teenagers, but we've kind of evolved from what we were back then.
Yeah.
When it came from, it was more than just, improving our sets. It was more improving, um, it was more improving ourselves in a way. So if you want, like, we're tired. That's pretty much the main point. We just, uh, it's not like we're trying to be lazy. It's because we're just very, you know, we're getting
Real
old.
life is
I think
beating
that,
you. Real
yeah,
life
we're
has
also,
grabbed
yeah,
a
real
hold
life is
of
getting
us.
busy. I'm planning to go to college in a few years. I'm planning to do all this in the future. So, you know what? Find something else to do. Because, I mean, Roblox game shows, I never thought those two things would ever collide in each other. I never thought 5,000 people would join that. But honestly, if you're going to find something to do, go ahead and just, see what life outside of this, takes you. I mean, honestly, your love of game shows could easily inspire your next career. So honestly, if you want to, experience what life has to offer, just go ahead and just live it out. See what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I don't know if I was around in 2017, but man, that was a good year for me.
Mm-hmm.
For one reason, when I went to New York for Nintendo, when they had their World Championships over there that year,
Right.
man, I still can't believe I went there.
Yeah.
Now, I do wonder, what do you know what will happen to the whole championship thing for the season of Feud now that it's abruptly ended?
It's probably not going to happen. I don't really see it happening. If I couldn't, uh, go through this entire season. I don't think we're going to be doing the rest of the season after this. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't. Yeah, so yeah, the champions thing. I don't think it's going to happen now.
and I'm sorry to say, no Robux coming your way
Yeah, well,
to
what are you going
those
to do
who
about
were
that?
in the championships.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I didn't
hey,
really do this much for pay, so we're just here
I'm
for
into the
fun.
contestants.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, if I can get some pay, that'd be great. But yeah, over there,
Same here.
I mean, sorry, I couldn't really give you what you wanted, but to be fair, it was more of just having fun, not more of Robux. If you're here just for Robux, you're not really here for um, entertainment. You're not really a true GCW member if you're just here for the
Exactly.
money.
In
Mhm.
fact, one thing I regret about becoming a host, not being able to play it myself. What
Mhm.
about you?
Um, you know, I'll have to see what the future holds. Thinking about getting more into film, but that's all.
Now, I'm still in the booking process for future guests, so I can't tease who's coming up next in this series. But all I know is that you might recognize them, you might not. I don't know.
I might. We'll have to see who they are.
I have some people in mind, and I've contacted them, but I haven't gotten word back.
All right.
But till next time, this has been Whammy TV. That has been JohnnyZillion. And please, once GCW's over, find someone else to do things with, even if it is another group in this community. GCW might have been one of the bigger ones, but they're not the only ones.